What's going on, YouTube? Sitting behind me is a 1979 Jeep cj7. It has been sitting for anywhere from 10 to 20 years. I know because it was my oldest brother's for a long time. It always had trouble with the steering and loose. It just didn't run great. So it has been sitting at my dad's for the longest time since I was little. I mean, I can remember it, but I don't ever remember it running. It could have at some point, but I would feel confident saying at least 10 years, but close to 20, I would say. I got it probably 3 or 4 years ago, and it's been sitting here ever since. The only thing I did to it, I put a HEI distributor on it to see if it would get spark, and I took the carburetor off. Never did anything past that. It's been sitting. So today's video, we're gonna try to get this old girl actually running. So we'll do a little walk around of what it is, what it needs. I do have a rebuild kit for the carburetor. It is a AMC 304 V8. It's got long tube headers on it. That's something my brother did. He did that in college, and he's probably in his 40s now, so it's been a minute. The fan is off for some reason. I don't know why. Like I said, the carburetor is off. It is in the passenger seat here. I know it needs rebuilt. I have a rebuild kit for it, so we're gonna get into that. That's the breather for it. The fan is here, so we have it. It needs a lot of love. It's pretty straight. It's got rust, as you can see there. I mean, all the fenders are basically rotted off of it. The tires are shot completely. The worst rust is back here under the filler nozzle. So it's gonna be I guess a will it start video to start off. There's the cj7. And eventually it's gonna be more long form content and short form content, doing weld patch repairs on that and on there. I want to get this motor running, get it moving, so I can confidently pull the motor out and sell it to somebody if they want the motor. Give it to somebody. I don't care if it's worth having. I do want to do I'm stuck right now between a 4BT Cummins, basically a baby 12 valve Cummins. It's an 8 valve. Front 2 cylinders are chopped off of it, basically. Stuck between that and a lighter Mercedes diesel. So regardless, we're gonna get it running. We're gonna get it drove into the shop, and from there we'll start tearing it down, pull the tub off of it. But that'll all be in another video, doing the weld repair. I want to get the frame sandblasted. I'll sandblast it, but I do want to get it powder coated, so I'll take it to a shop for that. I want to do I'm leaning towards a Cummins swap, but we'll see. But I want to do that. I want to get a proper transmission in it, being a manual. Get that automatic taken out of it. But it is showing 33,000, but there ain't no telling if that's right or not. Interior ain't bad. He had it all bed lined and all that crap. I want to get the thing nice, have it somewhat of a weekend cruiser. Get some better seats in it. Get some carpet in it, some insulation, some at least some kind of radio with some speakers. The doors all need repaired. It needs a windshield. It's just an old Jeep, been sitting for a long time. But today we're gonna see if we can get that old V8 running. First things first, we're gonna get a battery put in it, and we're gonna pull a plug, see if we can get spark going or not. I don't even remember testing for spark. I put that in there. I think I got it timed. I don't know. It wasn't a proper job for sure. I just had that on there, and I had that there. So it was just kind of rigged up. But let's get into it and see if we can't get this old puppy with some spark, and then see if we can't get some fuel to it. All right, let's get a battery set in here and hook it up and see if anything catches on fire or not. Old battery box has got a little rust under it. Said I got a welder, and I'll be experimenting with it, seeing what we can make happen. Here's a positive and negative. Gonna get these banged on here and see what happens. I don't know why this is taking off. I got the key in the on position. We're gonna connect it and just jump the starter off and see what happens. I got some spare plugs here. We ain't even gonna pull a plug out. We're just gonna hook it up to a spare plug and see if it even has spark. Because if not, then I don't need to worry with the fuel system yet. But first, I need to see if it'll turn over. Let's see which one of these wires goes to the starter. Oh, she still turns over. Some real smart guy left this carburetor off for the past 3 years, so that's a great idea. I always want to leave that off. She is not happy. Alright, it turns over good. Let's put a plug in one of these wires. See if I can't get electrocuted. Find somewhere to drain this off of. I wish it would reach the battery. There we go. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. Let's turn that camera a little bit. See if she's got spark. No spark. Perfect. See about what that disconnected. All right. I wonder if we're getting power to our distributor over here. This was a cheap, kind of a knockoff HEI distributor that gets rid of the, I don't know what they're called on these, computer box, CDI box, the coil. Gets rid of all that and kind of adds it into just this one thing, which is good, but also seems like if that one thing goes bad, then you gotta get a whole new system and not just replace a coil. So I don't know. I guess I'm somewhere in the middle on that. Would be nice to see if we can get some spark going now. Let's try it. Let's try it off of the spark plug here. See if it. No spark. Let's try a different wire. Not I need to get my, and it might not Might not would have spark jumping it straight to that, because that wouldn't be powering the, that would not be powering the distributor if I just jumped it off right there. So let's see about getting a screwdriver or something. This hammer will work just for testing. See about holding that on there. That'll power the whole system, and then we can let's try that. Just without that being hooked up to the solenoid there, it wouldn't be powering everything else, I don't think. And that would cause it to not have spark. Let's see if that'll ground. There we go. She does have spark that way. I don't know if y'all can see that or not, but it does have spark. We're going to hook that back up and see if we can get some starter fluid and spray it in there and see if it'll get going. So let me go grab some starter fluid. We're gonna turn it over, spray some liquid fire in there and see if it'll happen. All right, we back. Got some starting fluid. Got our ignition key right here. We're gonna give it a little squirt. See if something will catch on fire or not. Oh, she trying to. Door swinging open. That is the first time I've heard this thing pop off in a long time. I think I remember it maybe running on some starting fluid a long time ago, but I would have had to been probably between 5 and 10 years old. So it's a very vague memory, if that's even a proper memory. Let's see if it'll pop off any better. Come on, baby. Go, baby. I love these old carbureted motors, the way they sound turning over. Come on. Shoot. Well, it ran for a minute. Backfired real good. Might have been smart to see if it had oil in it or not. Let's check that now that we've ran it a little bit. Wherever the oil dipstick might be on this thing. There it is. It'd be awesome if there wasn't any oil in it and I just ran it. She's got right at the full line. Looks like that oil is older than I am, probably. Oil's oil though, baby. It came out of the earth. I mean, it's been in the earth for millions of years. Shoot, it ought to be able to be in this Jeep for 20 years and be all right. All right, that's what we wanted to happen. All right, she runs. That's cool. We're gonna get that carburetor rebuilt. Hopefully, if I can find the rebuild kit for it. I bought it probably 4 years ago now. It's missing the radiator cap, so that's another good feature of this whole thing. But let's go to the workbench and see if we can't rebuild a carburetor and get that on there, so maybe we can avoid it blowing up. Let's see you at the workbench. All right, we got the carburetor in the shop. I found the rebuild kit after looking for about 20 minutes. I had a 12 by 16 shed here on my land for about 5 years, and that's what I worked out of. I worked on jet skis, on 4-wheelers, and all that, and I finally got my shop put up. I built me a 35 by 50 structural steel shop, and it has been amazing, but I had to move everything from my shed over to my shop, and it's been a process to just find anything after that. So finally found it. Another thing on this carburetor, I guess when I took it off, it's been so long I didn't even remember, I broke this ear off, and I booger welded it back on there. It's aluminum, and I am not an aluminum welder by any means, so I might take an angle grinder to that, and we're going to use a little gasket maker. Again, this is just to see if this old girl will run or not, so I can tell somebody the motor runs if they want to buy it, if they want to buy the motor. But we're going to get into this old Motorcraft carburetor here. And I work on jet skis. I don't work on much to do with 4 strokes. I work on these old 2 strokes. So by no means am I a mechanic on these things, and by no means do I know what I'm doing. So I am all ears when it comes to advice, comes to working on these things. I just take them apart and do the best I can with what little knowledge I have. Looks like that's gonna come off. You'll probably hear some goats in the background. Let me go shoo them off, not to mess with the audio here. Alright, gotta get this linkage off somehow. Get some needle nose, a little screwdriver, see if we can't pop that C-clip off. There we go. We're gonna speed this up a little here, get it all taken apart, show you the inside, and hopefully it ain't too bad, but skip over all this boring stuff, and we'll be back when we see what's wrong with this thing. Alright, we got the carburetor all put back together. got it all cleaned out, new gaskets in it, got the jets cleaned out, got the new needle and seat put in there. So we got new gaskets, we got all the surfaces cleaned off, we got that weld ground down pretty good, got it kind of flat, put it on a flat surface with some sandpaper and slid it back and forth. Let's see, I got some new nuts for the carburetor because those disappeared, and I've got a bulb here I'm going to see. I did clean the fuel tank out, I don't know, 4 years ago, and I never did anything with it, so it's probably rusted again, but hopefully not. But the fuel line for it is right there with some dirt dauber built back up in it. Well, I'm going to clean that out and get that primer bulb on there temporarily and see if I can just get some fuel sucked through it. If not, we're going to end up putting a temporary fuel pump on it, and not a temporary fuel pump, temporary gas can just sitting up there, gravity feed it down to it. But for now, we're going to put that carburetor back on there, we're going to put that primer bulb on, see if we can get some fuel to it and see if this thing will run on its own. If so, we'll try to get these tires aired up. If not, I might hop on Facebook Marketplace and see about finding just some to roll it around on, because I want to get it from here down into that shop down there and get it out of the weather for the first time in my lifetime. So we're gonna hook you up and get a little time lapse of this carburetor going on, and then we're gonna see if this thing will run. All right. Get this line cleared out. See if I can squirt some gas out of it, prime it out of the tank. If I could get it hooked up to the tank, that would be very nice. But it is full of dirt daubers. Right in my face. Probably take a minute to prime it, but I don't hear anything. Come on, baby. Suck some fuel out of that tank. I wonder if I'm on the return line, because it seems like I'm just sucking air. This very well could be the return line. She is not sucking any fuel, that's for sure. All right, hopefully it's not because it's still clogged up. It doesn't feel clogged up still. Now, let's see about the return. The other line, there's something to come out of it or not. I know there's fuel in the tank. I had a fuel tank the other day. I needed the tank and it had gas in it. And I needed to go get some diesel. I think that line just broke. That it's just short. Anyways, I needed some diesel, so I dumped all the gas that was in the tank in here. So I know it's got some gas in it, so it might just be playing with me. All right, seems like we're gonna be putting a fuel tank up on the hood somewhere and running her that way, because this ain't working. So let's go get a gas tank, prop it up on the hood, and run a line from there. Alrighty, I ended up got a portable air tank up here, and I guess that primer bulb's just bad, but the line there was clogged up a little further, so I put an air nozzle on it and I sprayed it out real good, and then I put the air nozzle on the return line and pressurized the fuel tank, and it did shoot gas out of there. And surprisingly, the gas is still pretty clean. Like I said, I put 4 years ago when I cleaned that fuel tank out, I put automatic transmission fluid in there just to coat the tank so it wouldn't flash rust and all that. So the fuel is still red, and the fuel I put in the Jeep when I needed to get diesel in that other can, and I needed to get rid of the fuel that was in that can, was 2-stroke. So it is probably gonna smoke. But so I got that hooked up, and then I took this line off and I crunk it over until it primed up. So it's primed up now. So we're gonna put a little gas in the throttle body there, carburetor, and then I'm gonna go in the cab, turn the key to the on position, and see if this thing will run. It should be primed, and it should be about ready to crank up. So we're gonna give that a go. See what happens. It's probably gonna smoke if it does run. So it should be interesting. Let's go turn that key on. Well, really, let's go turn that screwdriver on, because it does not have the key. Key is on. Dump a little bit of this in the carburetor. And let's see what happens. I don't know if the key is going to turn it off if it tries to keep running, but I guess I could always cover that up. Let's see. It might be running on its own right now. I believe it is running by itself. That is amazing. That's the first time I've ever heard this thing run. It's got some kind of noises going on, but it's definitely running. I don't have coolant hooked up, so it is smoking. Sounds like it's missing on a couple cylinders, but I'm gonna turn it off because I do not want to overheat it. I want it to be cool enough to at least drive down there to the shop. But there she is. She runs. That's amazing. All right, next we're gonna try to air these tires up enough to run the thing down there. So we're gonna set the camera up, air these tires up, and get her in the shop. All right, we got some air in the tires now. We're gonna crank this thing up and see if it'll drive out of here. I will be very impressed if it does. It is an automatic, unfortunately. I do want to get a manual transmission in here in the long run. Let's see. This thing's tight in here. All right. See what happens. All right, we have no brakes. That's perfect. All right, we should be in drive. Transmission might be gone already. Man, this thing actually raised up. That's crazy. Alright. That ain't working. Alright, next plan, I guess, is gonna be. See if I can't pick it up with skid steer. Or I might just drag it with the skid steer, because she is gonna get warm fast. Oh, it's smoking out of the. It may just not have any transmission fluid. I might have just burnt them clutches up. Let's try to add some transmission fluid and see if it'll move at all. I'll be right back. Alright, let's put a little bit of transmission fluid, see if it wants that. It's smoking out of the hole a lot, so I imagine it loved me revving it to the moon just now with no fluid in there. Good idea. Let's see where that shows on the dipstick, if any, if it's not all draining out of the bottom right now. Alright, it's showing full, so let's see if that does anything. There you go, dripped out the bottom, so that's a good thing. Crank it up one more time, get one more go. If not, I'm gonna just drag it in there with a skid steer. Oh, she's moving. Here we go. Oh, I have no brakes, and this thing is not slowing down. That's awesome. She Righty, we got her in the shop now. I drove it close as I could get it comfortably to the shop, just because it ain't got a lick of brakes and it's idling a little high. So I wasn't driving it in my shop. I'm gonna take everything else out with it, but I ended up getting it to the door, and then I pushed it the rest of the way with the excavator. Just picked it up with the blade right there on the front hitch and pushed it in here. But that's basically going to be it for this video on the Jeep. Like I said, this is a 79 cj7. Right now it's got a 304 in it with the automatic transmission. That's got to get gone. But I do want to put, I believe I'm going to end up putting a 4BT Cummins in there with a adapter plate to run either a Ford or a Chevy transmission, probably a 5-speed manual transmission. But it's gonna be more than that. I wanna pull the tub off of it. I want to get the frame sandblasted, because my brother owned this I don't know, 20 years ago, and he took it mudding a good bit, so the frame is full of mud. Thankfully, we were in Alabama, and we ain't in the Rust Belt by any means, so the frame ain't rusted out. There might be some spots that are a little weak. I might patch, but I'm gonna take it down to nothing. Get the frame sandblasted, get it powder coated. Do like right here. I went over it in the front of the video, but you got a little bit of rust there and a little bit in the back under the tag. We're gonna end up welding that up. I ain't got a MIG welder, but I got a TIG, so we'll end up cutting that out, making little patch panels. I want to end up getting it painted, and I want it to be nice. It ain't gonna be something I use like a real Jeep on the trails or anything like that. I just want to have it as a kind of a weekend cruiser. Maybe take it down to the beach, something like that. So next videos will be basically I want to get rid of that motor, get that pulled out first. I want to probably do the patching on that while I'm waiting on finding a motor, because I want a P pump 4BT is basically what I want to put in it. So, and people are proud of them. There's rust up under the windshield there. That'll all get patched, but it'll be a while coming on this one. It'll pop up every now and then. So it's gonna be a long little restoration just when I have time. So if you want to see that, just follow along, subscribe, give it a like. We'll keep on making videos on it, and I guess next video it'll be back on the dozer, putting the last little few parts on that and driving it outside, and we're gonna get them clutches freed up on that. So if you want to see that, then be looking forward to that here in about a week. All right, that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you.